2020 KTM Freeride E-XC. I just picked this bike up a little over a week ago, and this is one of my early rides. I only got a couple hours on it, but I wanted to share a couple things with you. Man, number one, this bike's all about fun. It's really why I got into motorcycling a long time ago. It's just fun to get out and ride, and this is a totally different experience being electric. So it is quiet, and that's what's neat. You can hear yourself, you can hear the woods, you can hear the leaves. I can hear the mud hitting the tire or the fenders today. But the first thing people ask me all the time is, how long does the battery last? And I don't have a great answer yet, but my best estimate based on my rides, I think in map 3 full power, riding it hard, for a regular guy riding it hard, it should last at least 45 minutes or around there to an hour. And I mean, a pro guy could probably shorten it to 35 or 40 minutes, but I think you can get at least an hour out of it. I've been riding over here now for about 35 minutes in map 2 and 3, and I'm at 35 minutes in, and I'm still at 70 to 100% charge. So map 1's a beginner map. It's half power, maybe 12 horsepower. Map 2 is I think about 21 horsepower. 16 kilowatts, and then map 3 is full power, and they each have their own characteristics. Obviously map 1 is the beginner, very easy to ride. It's actually good in the mud and slow stuff, but it doesn't have a lot of power for climbing. It's great for learning, teaching, and just kind of goofing off. It only has top speed of about 33 miles an hour. Map 2 will go, I think, about 45 or so, and I think map 3 is about 50, so I really haven't played with that too much yet. But that's what everybody asked me the first time. And then under the seat here is the battery. It's I think it's about 62 pounds. It's got 4 bolts that hold it in, so in theory, if you had an extra battery, you could quick change it. It's got a nice little explanation of the battery charge levels. The first 2 greens are 70 to 100 and 70 to 50, then 50 to 30, and then you're down under 10%. It's kind of nice and small. I'd say the bike, like the chassis, is like 7/8 size or so. It's kind of like a trials bike with a big seat on it, but foot pegs are back a little bit, and you can even take them 5 millimeters further back with changing the bolt holes on them. The seat being small and thin is surprisingly comfortable, and the bike is thin. It does have some small radiators up here to cool the motor. The suspension, I think it's got about 10 inches of travel front and rear, and it's Explore forks, so they're adjustable for compression and rebound. The rear compression, you got to kind of go through a little hole there. That's a little tricky to adjust, but rebounds at the bottom, it's easy to get to. The motor's protected. It's got a lot of ground clearance. It's got Maxxis trials tire, and the rear one's a special one for this bike, especially. I think it's got a little stiffer sidewall, but it still has the very soft, gummy trials bike kind of feel to the tire. As you can see, there's no brakes on the foot. There's no foot brake, but there's a bolt hole, and I think in Europe they offer the rear brake. That's one of the things I find myself getting used to now. The suspension is set up for a trail bike. It's plush and comfortable, but it's still a 238-pound bike, so it's got some hold up to it. But to make it go, you turn the key on, and then you turn the ignition switch or the kill switch to run. It'll cycle through, tells me I got plenty of battery, and then you hit the start, and now the throttle is live, so it will move. Now we're in map 1. We'll start out in that just to show you how easy it is to ride in map 1. Super controllable, and you can just go WOT and it'll start going. Like I said, I think top speed's about 33. I think I had it on some flat ground, but 1 is actually a rideable map. Like if it rained earlier today, so the trail here is a little bit slick, and it's very soft and gentle. This is a great beginner map, or just if it's slick or you're just messing around, you want it to last longer because it has regen on it. But the throttle response is very smooth in 1. Now we'll switch it up to a little more fun. You hold this button. Now we're in map 2. Map 2 is probably it's a nice Got a lot more as it revs up. KTM has made this thing very gentle. First 0 to quarter throttle is super easy to control, and then it builds. And again, I'm learning just how much I can push on that rear brake with my left hand. Never had a motorcycle with that. Obviously mountain bikes have braking on the left. But these bikes are narrow, and the motor has got very little inertia, so it will rev up quick. And I'll put it in 3, which has even got a little bit more snap. But what you'll find with these electric motors is they actually build RPM, and even in 3 in the tight stuff, it's very controllable. And this is max power, so I tend to run it a lot in 2 and 3. It's a lot more responsive. There's no clutch, so you still don't have that really. You have instant torque, but you don't necessarily have that instant snap that you can get with a clutch. So it's still, but as soon as the RPMs go, it gets going. You can feel that thing looking for traction. And again, with the small size, it is super agile. It changes directions quick. Bring that front end up. And it's kind of cool because you got no sound. You can hear everything. And see, I could even go into this super tight stuff here. This is trails I ride my mountain bike on too. And still super easy to control. I think KTM did a great job with the mapping. But again, like I said, I'm just learning. But it is fun, so easy to ride. Gotta teach my right foot to stop looking for a brake.